class, I'm your educator Shulagna Khoto. Today I'm gonna brief you about the topic DNA replication, which is the third part of my video series about DNA replication. So in the previous two parts of this video, I have discussed elaborately about the prokaryotic DNA replication. So if you missed the first and second parts of this video series, then links are into the description box. Please go through from that, then you can easily understand today's class. Okay, so let's start. Today I gonna discuss about mainly the DNA replication process in eukaryotes. So before starting, we must remember this chart, which is very much important, guys. So in this chart, we can see the names of various enzymes and proteins involved in replication process, mainly in prokaryotes like in E. coli and in eukaryotes like in human. So in the first part of this video, I've discussed about the names and functions of various enzymes involved in prokaryotic replication. Though the functions are similar in eukaryotes as in prokaryotes, but their names are quite different from them. Okay, so let's see. So in the E. coli, the action of helicase is done by DNA B, but in human it is MCM. Likewise, the function of single-strand binding protein in E. coli is done by single-strand binding protein or SSBP, but in human it is done by RPA or replication protein A. And the action of primase in E. coli is done by DNA G, whereas in human it is done by DNA polymerase alpha or primase. So the action of replicase is done in E. coli by DNA polymerase 3, and in human it is done by DNA polymerase epsilon or DNA polymerase delta. Action of topoisomerase is done in E. coli by guidase and in human by topo 1 or 2. And processivity component, action of processivity component act by the beta clamp in E. coli, and in human it is done by PCNA or proliferating cell nuclear antigen. Action of clamp loader is done by gamma complex in E. coli, and in eukaryotes it is done by RFC or replication factor C. Okay. So first of all, the pre-initiation stage. Actually, during pre-initiation stage, selection of replicator, or I can say origin of replication, occurs. And replicator selection is the process of identifying the sequences that will direct the initiation of replication, and it occurs into the 11 hours G1 phase of the cell cycle. That means I can say prior to the S phase. And though origin selection occurs at G1 phase, but origin activation only occurs after cells when enter into the S phase of cell cycle, and it triggers the replicator. Okay, and replicator selection is mediated by the formation of pre-replicative complexes or pre-RCs. So the first step in the formation of pre-RCs is the recognition of the replicator by eukaryotic initiator or ORC or origin recognition complex. Okay, and once ORC binds with the replicator, then it recruits two helicase loading proteins, that means CDC6 and CDT1. And together ORC and the loading proteins recruit a protein MCM, which is a mini chromosome of 2 to 7 complex. So you can see here that it is 6 subunit complex which starts from 2 subunit. That means this is 2 and ends into the 7 subunit. So this is 7 subunit, and that's why it is called 2 to 7 complex. And it acts as an eukaryotic replication fork helicase. Okay, but formation of pre-RC does not lead to the immediate unwinding of origin of replication for DNA or the recruitment of the DNA polymerase. Instead, the pre-RCs that are formed during G1 phase are only activated to initiate replication after cells pass from G1 to S phase of the cell cycle. So this is the pre-RC. Okay. Now into the initiation stage, pre-RCs are activated to initiate replication by two protein kinases, namely CDK, that means cyclin dependent kinase, and DDK, that means DDT4 dependent kinase. So those kinases are mainly proteins that covalently attach with phosphate groups to target proteins. And though each of these kinases are inactive in G1 phase, but are activated only when cells are enter into the S phase. Okay, and these new proteins include the 3 eukaryotic DNA polymerase and a number of other proteins which are required for their recruitment. And interestingly, the polymerases assemble at the origin in a particular order. And DNA polymerase delta and DNA polymerase epsilon associate first, followed by the DNA polymerase alpha or primase, I can say. Isn't it? Then this order ensures that all these DNA polymerases are present at the origin or replicator region prior to the synthesis of first RNA primer, which is done by the DNA polymerase alpha or primer, I can say. And once present at the origin region, DNA polymerase alpha or primase synthesizes an RNA primer and briefly extends it. And in that way, initiation of replication started. Clear? Now, into the elongation phase, after the binding of RNA primer, the resulting primer template junction is recognized by the eukaryotic sliding clamp loader or RFCs, and which assembles a sliding clamp or PCNA in case of eukaryotes, right, at those sites. And after a period of DNA unwinding, DNA polymerase alpha or primase synthesizes additional primers which allow the initiation of lagging strand by either DNA polymerase delta or DNA polymerase epsilon. And DNA polymerase epsilon possesses then the activity to remove primer and fills the gap with DNA, like DNA polymerase 1 in case of prokaryotes, right? And here, single strand binding protein like activity was played by replication protein A or RPA. So those are the single strand binding proteins, which is denoted as accessory factors during replication process. Now, into the termination phase, when the replication forks meet with each other, then termination occurs and it will result in the formation of two DNA strands. And as the replication terminated, but at the 5' end of telomeric part, that means end part of lagging strand, after the removal of RNA primer or terminal RNA primer, leaves a small gap, and that can be filled in. So this gap leads to the loss of terminal sequences, which is known as end terminal problem and can be corrected by telomerase enzyme. So let's see what is telomerase function, which is very much important, mainly in case of eukaryotic DNA replication. So in linear eukaryotic chromosome, once the first primer on each strand is removed, then it appears that there is no way to fill in the gaps, since DNA template can't be extended into the 3' to 5' direction, and there is no 3' end substrate available as there would be in a circular DNA. That means in case of prokaryotes, right? So Elizabeth Blackburn and her colleagues have proved that the answer to fill in the gaps with the help of enzyme telomerase, so that the genes at the ends are conserved. So telomerase is a ribonucleoprotein or RNP. That means it has RNA with repetitive sequence, and that's why it is called modified reverse transcriptase. Okay. So telomerase catalytic site adds deoxyribonucleotides using RNA molecules as a template. This reverse transcription proceeds to 3' to 5' direction of RNA template. So this is the 3' end of the DNA template strand, but here after the last primer removal, this short part cannot be filled in. And also this is the 5' end of the new synthesized DNA. That means there is no free 3' OH group to add new nucleotides. So that's why telomerase, which is 3' to 5' direction, it can add short RNA strand which can elongate the DNA template strand by addition of new nucleotides. Okay, like this. So that's why new RNA primer can be added by primase enzyme to fill in the gaps according to this template strand. Okay, clear? So when the newly formed G-rich strand becomes sufficiently long, then primase can make an RNA primer, and DNA Pol uses that primer to prime synthesis of DNA strand to fill in the remaining gap on the daughter DNA. So why it is G-rich? Because the telomerase enzyme is mainly C-rich, right? Okay. So at last, the primer is removed and the nick, that means short gap between fragments, becomes sealed by DNA ligase. Okay. So let's see in an animation form, then you can easily understand. So this is the remaining 3' OH end that can be filled in by DNA polymerase epsilon, but this is the 5' end that cannot be filled in. So this gap become filled in by the action of telomerase. So hope your concept about this topic have been clear after this session. There has provided a link of e-quiz into the description box, so you can score healthy marks and test yourself by those questions. And if you have any doubt or facing any problem during solving those questions, then after scoring you can ask me into the comment section, and also you can reach to us through our mail ID which is into the description box. I'm so much happy to say that in previous lessons I've got your lots of responses and doubts through mail, so don't miss the chance to get a healthy score. Lastly, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe our channel, then you can get notifications about my next videos which is coming on every Sunday. So stay safe, stay tuned. Bye.